on top of it all, we have another horrible police shooting. This Alton Sterling, African-American father of 5, pinned to the ground, murdered by the police. And Ben Dixon's on the line with us, host of the Benjamin Dixon Show. And, oops, I lost my one sheet here, Ben, but, oh, here it is, thebenjamindixonshow.com. You can tweet him at the BPD Show. And, Ben, welcome back.
Hey, Tom, how are you? Thank you for having me on.
Good to have you with us. I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things that have to do with body cameras and all this stuff. And, the shooting in Louisiana, in Baton Rouge, of Alton Sterling, there's a very good chance we would not even be discussing this had there not been a bystander with an iPhone.
Yeah, that's correct, Tom. The first reports that came out said that the body cams of the 2 officers involved fell off. And so outside of the video from the bystander, there's really nothing that we have as of yet. There are reports that there is dash cam footage that has been recovered, and also footage from the convenience store that Alton Sterling was in front of. But as far as the dash cams, though, for both officers, they seriously fell off. The body cams, thank you.
Yeah. And North Carolina has passed legislation saying that body cams are non-public records. And now, I understand if your body cam's on continuously and you go to the bathroom or something, that you might want to be able to censor that part out. But, that's not what this is really about, is it?
Yeah, so it appears that this legislation coming out of North Carolina gives unprecedented amount of discretion to police officers to determine whether or not something can be turned over. And it's also, the language also makes it clear that that these body cams, the footage, is not public record. So this is something that's just coming out, I believe June 23rd, the House version of the bill was passed. And it has not been signed into law as of yet, but the North Carolina ACLU has definitely come out strongly against it, saying that this is unprecedented. It gives them broad leverage in terms of how they can determine if the public can get access, and it leaves that discretion completely up to the police.
There are huge issues here about police accountability and how we police and all this sort of thing. Let's just kind of close out this conversation, or not close it out. I suspect it's going to go on all day, but about Alton Sterling. What do we know about this fellow and this father of 5? What do we know about him? What do we know about what has happened so far?
So we do know that 37-year-old, he was out in front of a convenience store in Baton Rouge with the permission of the owner. That's been confirmed, selling CDs. He is a father of 5. And per usual, they're bringing up his background and they're digging up anything. And by they, that's such a ubiquitous word, but pulling in his past criminal background history. There was a press conference this morning that would have just broken your heart when you see that he was indeed a family man, taking care of his family every day. And his son was on television just breaking down, saying, "I want my daddy." I do have some contacts in East Baton Rouge Parish who say that they have seen the dash cam footage. And this is not any type of official statement. This is just an inside source saying that even some officers that have seen it, they've winced, and they do believe that it is not a clean shoot. So there's still a lot of information. It's moving fast-paced, nothing definitive. And right now, just everything is not so much speculation, but we have to take it with a grain of salt.
This, up until, I'd say, probably the past decade, and I know that they're probably still trying to do it from time to time, but up until relatively recently, if a woman was raped, what was she wearing? What was she doing? Was she drinking? Was she flirting? All this kind of BS stuff that could be used to, quote, justify the rape. With the murder, and it's not just African Americans, but it seems to be predominantly when police are murdered, when police kill people. So often now we're hearing this whole backstory. I mean, I think Tamir Rice was probably the only person that couldn't come up with that, and they had, well, he had a toy gun, wasn't no. But it's like, are there any legal issues around that? I mean, it's becoming basically not just socially and courtroom etiquette wise considered inappropriate to mention a woman's sexual history in a rape trial. but I believe in some cases actually a violation of the law in some states. Anything like that going on with regard to criminal history in? I realize in a courtroom there are some very specific limits on this,
right?
But we're talking about the press here.
Right. That's the thing, Tom. We're really talking about the court of public opinion in this, and there's always a concerted effort to defame the person who has been killed. In this case, it's unfortunately, it's overwhelmingly black people. There's released footage of our 911 tapes out of Florida for Corey Jones, a friend of mine who was also killed by the police. And he was one of the few cases that they could not dig up anything on in terms of a criminal background. You mentioned Tamir Rice. It's almost as though you have to be an angel for you not to be slandered.
Yeah, 11 years old.
So,
I mean,
yeah, 11-year-old. And my friend Corey, who was a church musician, and they really had no background on him to destroy him publicly. But it's almost as though you have to have a pristine, clear record for you to have a fair trial in the court of public opinion.
Right. We're talking with Benjamin Dixon, the host of the Benjamin Dixon Show. Ben, how do we change this? Other than, I mean, obviously, the cell phone cameras are a disruptive technology. They're changing the conversation. They're waking a lot of people up. But beyond that, what are you seeing happening? What do you think should be happening?
So, Tom, to be honest with you, I really get frustrated. I'm one of those people who look at my allies. You can't stop, quote unquote, racist. You can't stop people who would never believe that a black person was wrongly killed. You can't stop that perception. But what we can do is look at the people who call themselves our allies, particularly elected officials, and look at their voting records. And if they are on the wrong side of a particular issue, for instance, the North Carolina bill, if they voted in favor of that, we really need to question whether or not we're going to unite around them simply because they are a Democrat or they are, liberal or progressive, however they identify. We have to start with our own team first. And once we do that, then we'll have a unified front against this type of atrocious precedent and activity in the country.
Yeah. In a way, Bernie kind of started that. Let's campaign on the issues. Let's talk about the issues. Every time the press tried to turn it into something else, it was like, no, back to the issues.
Yeah, no, because we have a way of amplifying these situations, but really with symbolic gestures. There are real policy issues at hand here that are protecting police officers and protecting not even just police officers, but vigilantes and, stand your ground laws. There are real policies. And if we don't have politicians on our side that are going to defend us against these policies, then what do we have? We can shout as much as we want, but until we address the people who are benefiting from our vote, then we are constantly sabotaging our own efforts. Yeah,
very, very well said. And unfortunately, there's no central clearinghouse for this kind of information, is there?
Unfortunately, no. But if you stumble onto ALEC's website and follow their trail, you can probably find more legislation that is undermining our values and our principles.
Oh, yeah.
That may
that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah,
but, yeah. And for great information, you can always watch the Benjamin Dixon Show, thebenjamindixonshow.com. Ben, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Tom.
We'll be back. It's 15 minutes past the hour.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.